Hey there, physics students and fellow musicians. Hey, at times you may be asked to perform outdoors and discover that the gig does not provide AC power and you're kind of in the middle of nowhere. What do you do? You might consider a battery power supply like this Gensrock model H120 Power Station. And in order to find out the answer to the question of the day today, which is, will this brick last for my whole gig? We're going to need to know two things. One is how much juice is in the box at a full charge. That's going to be measured in watt hours. The manufacturer here claims 88 watt hours. We'll check on that later. For now, we'll trust it. That's the measure of how much juice is in that box. And then you need to know how quickly you're consuming the juice. For example, this light bulb consumes energy at 60 watts, which is a rate of how quickly it's drinking that juice that's in the box. Physics students will recognize watt hours as a unit of energy and watts as a unit of power. So how big is big enough for the gig? Well, it's going to depend on your equipment too, right? So you'll need to know how much power your equipment draws. For example, this Mackie SRM 450 active speaker uses about 30 watts of power. That's the rate it's consuming energy. And I measured that directly with this device called a kilowatt meter. And I did that with a real signal coming through. I played a test tone at a pretty loud volume, because it may surprise you that the power consumption of your equipment depends on how loud you're playing and what you're playing. I also measured other things. This bass amp, this is acoustic image 10.2, about 20 watts. This little practice amp from Fender, about 13 watts. And this mixer Xenix 502 from Behringer, about 7 watts. And so the question is, how long can I last in a gig? For instance, if I had 60 watt hours available, well, let me say this. Let's say I ran this for 1 hour at my gig. That's going to consume 60 watts times 1 hour, and that would be 60 watt hours of energy I would need. Could I use my Gensrock for that? Sure. It's less than 88. I should be okay. Let's check some others. Hey, if I take 60 as my goal to leave a little margin, I could run this for 2 hours. 30 watts times 2 hours is 60 watt hours, comfortably under 88 that is specified. Likewise, this amp, I could run this for 3 hours and it would be comfortable. 20 watts times 3 hours, 60 watt hours. All of those different combinations result in the same amount of energy usage measured in watt hours. So to look at a realistic scenario, I might consider bringing this amp, this 20 watt amplifier, to a gig and use it for 2 hours. Let's see here, I made a little card here. Let's say I use that for 2 hours. You do the multiplication and I would find I need 40 watt hours. Is that okay compared to this equipment? Yeah, it's less than 88 comfortably. I think I would be okay with that gig. But there's one last thing. If you're like me, you may be wondering, can I trust that manufacturer's spec of 88 watt hours? Let's find out. I did an experiment where I took the provided charger, plugged it into the power supply to give it a full charge of energy, as much as it can hold. And then I plugged in our trusty 60 watt light bulb to see just how long it would last. Because by now we know how to do that calculation and determine watt hours from that. So here we go, turning on the power and the light comes on and I can time it. Looks like we're going to be off by a few seconds because of the delay of my pressing the button, but fine. Okay. There we go. Let's let that sit until it's finished. Oh, that would be a boring video. Let me just tell you this, that I ran that experiment and I found that I could run that 60 watt light bulb for almost exactly 1.25 hours, an hour and 15 minutes. And by now you may have already done the math, and you can see that that is 75 watt hours. That's what I got out of this device on a full charge until it went dead, completely dead, wouldn't light up the light anymore. So based on that experiment, I would say I would call that a 75 watt hour device, and still plenty of margin for my gigs, but now I have a more confident number when I bring that 20 watt amp to my 2-hour gig. I'm still pretty confident I'm going to be in good shape. That's all we got for today.